Again, it's 365 Never Ending Fight. I go by Mr. Check Your Temp, and I have a great guest of mine. Want to introduce yourself?
My name is MISA Masters. I am owner of Body by the Master training facility here in San Leandro, California. And I am a mother of one, and I also am a wife. So that's me.
Okay. The reason I wanted to have this meeting, right? I've been following you for a little bit now, and I saw that you had a gym, and I was intrigued. When I found out that you had sickle cell, I doubled down. Let me start off first off. When was you diagnosed, and what type of sickle cell do you have?
So I was diagnosed with sickle cell at birth, and actually before birth, there was a very high chance that I was gonna have sickle cell. My mom had she had a pretty good idea that I was, and I have SC. I'm hemoglobin SC.
Okay. And the reason I want to do this interview because I believe I'm also SC hemoglobin. I was diagnosed at 5, and 365 Never Ending Fight. It's a nonprofit here in Cincinnati. I started back in 2006, and I like to interview people who have sickle cell and can show that they can still have a productive life, even though we had these hurdles thrown in front of us from time to time.
Yes.
Just to get a little deeper into your story, we touched bases previously, which I was very intrigued once again. But just to get a little deeper into your story, how was it coming up dealing with sickle cell early stages?
Coming up with sickle cell was different. I had a lot of restrictions at home, but not only at home, in the school setting as well. I actually had notes sent with me to school that my mom wrote that told the teachers, let me use the restroom whenever I wanted to because I drink a lot of fluids and I have sickle cell, and I couldn't play very hard at recess. When I got into junior high and high school, I could not do sports of any kind, cheerleading or anything of the sort. And I also could not go swimming in most pools because they weren't heated. And even if they were, if my mom checked them and they were a little cold, she would tell me, don't get in.
Yeah. So by them having them restrictions early on as a child, of course, we don't understand that the restrictions is for our safety and to help us.
Right.
Because I had them same restrictions. How did that make you feel? I mean, I know you touched on it briefly. You said you was kind of embarrassed because you couldn't get in the water, but the overall restrictions, the fact that if you did want to cheer, if you did want to do certain activities, you constantly hear a voice in the back of your head saying what you can't do. So how did you feel early on?
It was very confusing, I could say, because as a child, you don't really understand illness very well. You just know you don't feel well, and that's basically it. So it felt like I was kind of singled out, or not really like everyone else. I felt like really different. And I used to think I was not gonna ever be able to do anything physical in my, workout or anything that would make me run or walk or get kind of overly tired and my heart rate up. So
okay, so I'm gonna ask you too, because did you share to any of your friends early on that you have sickle cell, or is it something that you kept to yourself?
Well, it was known that I had sickle cell, being that I had the restrictions of needing to go to the restroom whenever I wanted. It kind of would look like to the other kids that I was privileged a little bit at school. So we would tend to, I'm saying we as sickle cell warriors, we tend to get, I got teased about having sickle cell at school.
Right.
Yeah.
That part. And that's why I asked, because I remember coming up, same thing with me, getting teased, and you might hit something off. I hit you, I kill you, different things like that. So we had to cause me to fight more.
Yeah.
But then overall, I shut down. I kept it to myself.
Yeah.
When did you start speaking about sickle cell?
I wasn't as smart as you. I don't think that I kept it a secret And I don't know, I probably should have at some point, but I think I got used to everyone knowing anyway. So I just kind of always told people.
Okay.
So that was more, now that I think about it, that might not have been the best way, but I do think that I was really, like, compared to other people, I was pretty naive as a kid. So
Okay, but I think it's beautiful that you tapped in early, because the reason I regretted it, because the environments that I grew in, you know, if they see anything that they perceive to be weak, they
absolutely.
This is why I had to shut
Right.
down and keep it to myself. But
Mm-hmm.
you know, kids can be cruel, like
Yes.
you was teased, and but the reason I say that, because I also do blood drives here in Cincinnati, and years ago I spoke at a school called Woodward High School, and
Mm-hmm.
I had a little guy get up, and after I spoke and admitted that I had sickle cell, he got up, and long story short, he revealed to his classmates that who he'd been known since elementary, that he had sickle cell. He used to tell people that he was in jail versus in the hospital.
Oh.
So it's like, how embarrassed you really have to be to really.
Exactly.
I really want to get to the nitty gritty with you, because the transformation is amazing from what I see from your page. So when did you tap into the health part of when did you, better yet, when did you know that you had to go through this transformation that you went through to where you at today, like for your health? When did you take your health into your own hands in a better way?
I by default kind of got into working out because I ended up overweight after I had my child. And although I wanted to be bigger my whole life, like I didn't start off being overweight, I was pretty small up until I had my son. And then after I had my son, I ended up gaining like over 100 pounds, and I never lost it. I just kept getting bigger and bigger after pregnancy. So I ended up wanting to change my physical body. So I decided to start to work out for those reasons. And then by default, it kind of helped me with my health. And I didn't realize that it was going to make that much of an impact on my health, being that what I had been told coming up just everywhere pretty much is that working out was not good for people with sickle cell, especially my doctors used to preach that. So but yeah, when I did go ahead and start, it was really because I just want to look better and not be overweight, pretty much.
Okay. Now forgive me. You talked about you being in shelters.
Group homes, foster homes.
Yeah, group homes and foster homes. How was that battling sickle cell and have to endure the hurdles that come with being in them facilities?
I really just was not in the facilities very permanently, and I'll say why. The reason why I didn't really, my lifestyle wasn't, oh, I live at these group homes or foster homes, now they're my homes, is because I will run away. So I can say this, because I was running away, and then it made me more like pillow to post. I was not in good health for the years of teenage, where I was real small. Most likely I got smaller and smaller because I was not stable. And I just used to kind of bounce around from here to there. So I think that was more of it. I was just running around like crazy. And my health was horrible. I also would drink. I'm from East Oakland. I don't know, East Oakland is in the San Francisco Bay Area. Okay. And in my culture, we drink, we party, we, ride around the streets, we see people, we listening to music, we smoking weed. That's my culture. So growing up, that was kind of what fun was. And in my culture, that's just the way it is. And for that matter, I kind of indulged into that, and it made my health horrible to the point where I believe some of my worst sickle cell crisis came because of the lifestyle that I was living.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on that, because I had to learn that lesson the hard way too, just getting and drinking. And I just thank God that at the age of 44, you know, I'm here now because at one point I was popping perks. Well, let me not say pop.
Wow.
I was taking,
Mm-hmm.
I was taking my prescribed prescriptions
Mm-hmm.
out, drinking Tanqueray, smoking weed, you
Wow.
know, all
Yeah.
these different things, not
Mm-hmm.
realizing that, you know, like you say, what it was doing to my body. You know, I got
Yes.
tired of waking up in excruciating pain, just,
Yes.
you know, waking up calling 911. You know,
Absolutely.
so that got
Oh my
it,
God.
it took years to get to that point
Yes.
because you know once again we kids, we young adults,
Yep.
we really don't
Yep.
know. And then mainly
Exactly.
we got tired of people telling us what we can't do.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. That
that's
part.
the fact.
And I was incorrigible. Like at about 12 years old, I decided I did not want any um authorities. That's the best way I could put it. I did not want to live in a society, like in a household where it was going to have rules and restraints. The less was better for me, and if it wasn't going to be that way for me, I was just going to keep running away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of got me. That's not exactly what got me like all the way into group homes and foster homes, but it kind of helped push me that way. So I would never lie and say I came from a home where, you know, my mom was not, she didn't take care of me or provide for me. My story is not that. My story is I was not listening. I was running away. She fell on hard times, and boom, it was the perfect opportunity to be like, you're going to foster homes and group homes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you know, we teenagers, you know, rebellious, you know, that's what
Exactly.
young folks do.
And I don't regret any of it. And I know that might sound crazy, but I don't, because the woman I am today
mm-hmm.
is because of who I was then. Like I wouldn't even be me if I didn't go through the stuff I went through, or you know, it
That's your
wasn't
life.
really.
That's your
Yeah,
life's resume. That's your life
that's it.
resume. So you know
That's it.
it shapes you. So you know.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask you another question. How do you feel about the medical field? You know, dealing with these hospitals, dealing with these nurses and doctors. What's your take on how sickle cell patients is treated in those facilities?
It is horrible to me how sickle cell patients are treated in the hospital care, just all around the world, all across the country. And I've dealt with discrimination personally. I
Mm-hmm.
know there's a lot of warriors that have passed away, and it really saddens me, and it's very scary. So what you have is like you have sicklers, as you know, and you can testify now, not wanting to even go to the hospital because they are scared, and the trauma that they receive is almost not even worth dealing with it, to be
Mm.
honest.
Yeah.
And you know, you get to a point where it's like, can I take care of this at home?
Yeah.
Because if I can, even if I'm about to die, I'm going to. That's me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because it's like I feel like it's elevated when I go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm at home in the comforts of my own comfort, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel a lot better, and I can heal and get over whatever I'm going through faster. What is what I found. In the hospital, you're discriminated upon. You feel like you're fighting the whole time you're there. You're not able to kind of like get the care that you know that you need, especially if you're in a hospital and you're really sick and you can't advocate for yourself and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have a big family. It's very scary. And when I read that people have, well, sicklers have passed away due to not wanting to go into the hospital, a young lady a couple of months ago passed away because she was tired of going to the hospital. She had it documented where they kicked her out, called the police, didn't want to help her, told her they were escorting her out. They don't care. She can go down the street. And she was crying, and she had all this on video. Have you seen that video?
No, I haven't seen it. I would
I'm
love
going
to
to
see
send
it.
that to you. I'm going to tag you
Please
in it on
do.
Facebook.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
please do.
devastating. And then a few months later, the lady died because
Mm.
she didn't want to go to the hospital. She used to come on Facebook talking about how she had no family support, how
Mm.
she felt alone. And, you know, you just saw how this happened to her. You could kind of just see it like, oh my God, look at the timeline. It showed that something tragic was
Yeah.
bound to happen.
Yeah.
And if you can't trust the hospitals, it's like, what do you do? So I have an answer for that. That's when you take things upon your own, you take things into your own hands more. You say, what can I do for my health every day that's going to help me feel better? It may not happen right away, but what can I add? What herb can I make some tea with? What supplement can I take? What nutrient can I get from foods? And what foods can I eat that will give my body what it needs to keep me well, to keep me thriving? And that's the only thing that I do. And also exercise, moving your body every day, at least 30 minutes a day. And if you're not doing those things, you're not really trying as hard as you think you are, because you have more control than you think.
No, indeed. Because as I call them, is full-time patients.
It is.
And that's what at one point, like I said, I ain't always been where I'm at today. It has been a journey. That's where 365 Never in a Fight come from, because it is an everyday, all day battle to maintain, to be productive.
And I love the name, by the way.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. But that's what it's about, though, because because we have horror stories going into the emergency rooms. We have the disrespect. We have the, they playing Russian roulette with your life, and
absolutely.
And that's just an emergency room war story. We ain't talking about these doctors.
There you go. Exactly.
They your pain medicine, and they playing, treating you like a guinea pig.
Yes.
You own this, that will dance me, you own that, and you try this, try that, try that, and everything has a side effect. So I agree 100%.
Yeah.
In charge. So just just to fast forward a little bit, once again, I'm gonna bounce around with you, because sickle cell, it's deep, so we can relate. We're on the same playing field.
Absolutely.
The mental, how has sickle cell affected your mental in any way?
Oh my God, the mental. I can't even forget, because it's so profound that you even asked. But the thing of it is, so I'm talking to another sickler, so it's like, that's a different talk, a different understanding on a whole nother level. But I can say that, yes, it definitely, I think it's one of the biggest things ever that mentally have paralyzed me. Yeah.
Yeah. And what, do you deal with, is it anxiety? Is it depression at times? Is it?
I'll tell you what it does. You feel like, oh my God, like, sometimes I used to say to myself, like, what's wrong with me when I'm not feeling well? And it's like, why am I asking myself what's wrong? Later, I think about it. I'm like, why am I saying what's wrong with me when I know what's wrong with me? But I think it comes a time where a person is trying to fight past it so hard and act like it's not. You just kind of pretend like it's not, so that you can do, overachieve, right? But it is. So that can really mess with a person's mind, because it's like, especially an overachiever, a person that has big dreams and big goals, right?
Yes.
They see themselves doing so many things they could, and it's different. Like, and I people always do this. Like, people that don't have sickle cell say things like, well, I'm tired too when I get up in the morning sometimes. Well, I'm this, and it's like, okay, well, I hear you, but then you should be thinking, well, dang, it must be twice as bad for you, because that's really when you put yourself in another person's place with compassion. You see that. You say, well, I ain't going to say it's the same and overlook it. I'm going to say, wow, because the blood shows we don't have that. We don't have as much as we supposed to have. And even if we do, we are anemic. Yeah.
And the blessing about being SC is, and I'm sure your hemoglobin is run pretty high versus SS, because I'm SS, some of their hemoglobins can run low as 6 or 7, which kind of need a blood transfusion. For SC, speaking mainly from my point of view, my SC runs about, my hemoglobin run about 12, 13, 14.
I'm there.
Yeah, so that's the blessing, because we really are able to live a productive lifestyle once we tap into taking charge of our own health.
Yes.
Spoke on that earlier, because even with me dealing with the mental part, my mental part didn't come later. My ass came late. Well, it always been there, but it really set in when I got the blood clot in my chest. This is why I wear this sleeve on my arm, and I couldn't work out as much. And so I didn't realize weights was my mental health therapy. Crazy. So I just now getting back to it now, but I went like 5 years without working out at all.
Wow.
But the mental health just, I was diagnosed with health anxiety. You know,
Wow.
the fear of dying. Because I think about death. At one point, I thought about death so much. You know, especially when people die around me.
Yes.
And I got all these health issues. And I had a
Yes.
question I shared with you when we talked that day when I had. But you know,
I can see that. I can see that having a great effect on you.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I say, you know, just the mental part. This is why I like to do this, because I like to connect with other people with sickle cell, because it is possible. And like you said before, if somebody was to say, "Oh, I'm tired too," you know, this is why we kind of keep it mainly with me. I would keep that to myself. When somebody responds to me in that light, where they don't show no compassion, I just pull back, because I'm like, it's really talking to a brick wall.
It's very true. You don't. I really believe that people will never, that don't have it, whatever illness it is. If a person has, my mom has fibromyalgia, I can't put myself in the shoes of her actually having the pain that she has or the difficulties that she has from that. I can say, dang, I could try to mentally to put myself there to imagine, but I will never know what it feels like to live in another person's body. So with that being said, I just have to accept it and say, you know what? I'm gonna let what you say is right when it comes to how you feel.
Yeah, respect it.
Yeah. So I think, you know, I always give people that you'll never understand. I don't expect you to understand completely. You know, even if you understand some, you'll never understand completely, right?
You're right.
So for me, I give people that, so it's not really a big deal, but it's just I've heard people say things like that, and it's like, you can't do that. Like, that is not, you have to be more compassionate to people than that. So for me, it's like I have so many dreams and goals. I just tell myself now what helps is I tell myself, I'm human. I have sickle cell. I'm still great on my bad days. I'm still great because I'm going to get back up and I'm going to go when it's time.
The affirmations.
Yeah. The only way you lose is if you quit.
There it is.
And it might take me a little longer than what I expected, because I'm thinking in non-sickle cell brain, right? Talking about my goals, but that's okay. I'm still gonna make them happen. And everything is seed time harvest. Everything is seed time harvest. You plant the seed, you know, you wait, then you get the harvest. And everything great that I've ever had, I had to do that with. So I had to understand seasons.
Yeah.
Right. I gotta just go through them. I don't feel, and this is the thing, don't think people that get my sickle cell program, which I have, people sometimes think you're gonna feel good tomorrow. This is something you have to work on. Change your habits. You can't fake this. You can't fake it.
You sure okay. Gotta say that. I'm gonna tell you something though. I'm gonna tell you my metaphor that I use when I speak to people, right, for sickle cell. Right. Let's say the picture and it's funny because I lived this metaphor maybe 6 years ago, right? But I started talking about this metaphor 10 years ago before I even lived it. That's how scary it was. But my metaphor for sickle cell is this: picture the tallest mountain, right? Mount Everest, right? And at the top of that mountain is your goal, right? So now you imagine, now you hiking up this mountain, you got a book bag on your back, weigh about 1,000 pounds, right? Represents sickle cell. How many times you think you're going to stop before you get to the top, right? So that's my metaphor. You have to be okay with stopping. You have to be okay with taking them breaks. You have to be okay with don't look at nobody else's path. You see what I'm saying? But see, a lot, especially towards me, I was once that, you know, looking at somebody else's progress, somebody else's, path, and wonder how they got there so fast. I had to come to terms with, like, my road is different. If I got to start 1 million times, so be it, as long as I get there. You see what I'm saying? But that's my metaphor. And it was funny. Right? I'm gonna tell you, when I say I lived it, I didn't even know I was living it when it happened. My son moved to Arizona and he loved the mountains. So he's like, Daddy, when you come down here, I want you to go hiking with me. Now I call myself going doing my little power walks around on the flat land and getting prepared to get down there, right? So I get down there. We in the mountains. We would hike up the mountain. Oh, daddy, come on, daddy, come on. We almost it's simple. It's this. I mean, to him, it's nothing. He's young and he's in shape.
Right.
So to me, you can't look at me and say I got sickle cell.
Right.
I'm in the best shape.
Exactly.
You know? So I'm going up this mountain, and I got not even halfway, not even third. Like I'm burnt out, winded. So my son keep trying to encourage me. Come on. My lady trying to encourage me. Come on, you can do it. And they healthy. Now I told her, I stopped. I said, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Two things gonna happen. Either I'm gonna get flown out or carried out. But it's as far as I can go. Right. So we had to turn back around. But as we turned back around, they was talking ahead. Oh, you know, it's just mind over matter. It's just this. Now, if I was a weak-minded person, and not even saying they did it intentionally, they just trying to, you know, hype me up to motivate to go through it. But my body's saying something else.
Yeah.
I got to listen to my body. You know? So I said it to say we have to be okay with our own journey.
Absolutely.
Sickle cell patient's journey is totally different. We have to. Because if not, we can kill ourselves trying to please others.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying? But that's my metaphor, you know, for sickle cell.
I like that. That's really great. That's great because I don't know. It's you know, I could see why people will get stuck in their minds when they have something like sickle cell or illness that's kind of like in them too and operating for them as well. It's not just them, and it can get very complicated. You know what I mean? So I can see it.
I have another question for you. Have you ever had any surgeries due to sickle cell?
I have not. That's only a C-section.
That is a blessing.
Yes, only a C-section. So, ladies, you can have a C-section and have a flat stomach. Have it.
How was that being pregnant and battling sickle cell? How did that play out for you? I was in
the hospital for the last 3 months straight.
So what complications did you have?
I couldn't keep food down. Okay. And I was in a pain all the time.
You was in the hospital. How was they able to treat your pain? Were they still using narcotics, or would they have to take another approach?
Yes, they were, yes, definitely. So basically, I was getting pain medicine throughout my son's whole pregnancy, like small amounts of pain medicine.
How important it is of having sickle cell and having a healthy relationship / marriage?
It is very important.
Okay, you want to speak?
It's very important for the reason of, I think, more than anything, that the person is understanding and willing to play all roles. Yeah. Let's just put it like that. It's very important that they are willing to play all roles, especially when you have sickle cell anemia.
Yeah. I do agree. I used to be married at one point, and just relationship period. What I learned in my younger age, what I know to be true today, when you put your health first, nothing else matter. Nothing else matter. That means we ain't about to be fussing, cussing. We ain't about to be disrespectful. If the conversation ain't healthy, I don't need to be in it. You know, before you speak to me, just like I'm gonna do you. You know, so it's thing when you fighting an illness and you got to prepare for surgeries, or you got to prepare yourself to fight that battle. You cannot have no unhealthy distractions at all, and they go for any illness, any chronic illness. But we talk about sickle cell here. This is why, you know, when I was younger, I used to, woe is me, because I was the only one in my family with sickle cell. But fast forward now, I realized that I had to go through and grow through everything I've been through to even help my mother and my sister when they was diagnosed with cancer, because I understand how to fight. If I don't know nothing under the sun, I know how to deal with adversity. I know how to deal with sickle cell, any health issue. I know what it takes to fight a chronic illness. You see what I'm saying? And I apply that all across the board in my life. And the common denominator is sickle cell. So that's what's first on my plate, and everything else is secondary. Because if I'm not healthy enough physically or mentally, I can't help nobody else anyway. So I got to be 100. Like, I mean,
It's so true.
You know.
Wow, it's so true. It's so true.
But how long you been just forced the gym? Like what's your regimen? Walk me through an early morning day of MISA. When you get
Like
up,
what I do in the
yeah,
morning.
what's your regimen? Like just if
So I'll get up in the morning. As soon as I get up, I take a vitamin.
mm-hmm.
I also take a multivitamin. I take a vitamin B. Like it's makes you have supposed to B12, make you have a little more energy. I don't really feel anything from it, to be honest, but I just take it.
Right.
Then also take vitamin D,
Mm-hmm.
which is for your bone health, right? If you don't eat enough dairy. And it will help you not have osteoporosis in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I also take vitamin D. Is almost saying vitamin C every day because it helps your immune system.
Mm-hmm.
Then I eat breakfast. I don't always work out in the daytime with my weights, but I always do cardio in the morning, which I try to do right after I eat. I don't like doing things fasted because whenever I don't have enough food, I feel my morning. Then I meditate and I pray. So this is very quick. It usually takes me about 10 to 15 minutes to do that. I say some spiritual affirmations first. I also do like a meditation. The meditation is usually just to become mindful. So I love meditation. It's changed my entire life. So it makes me understand that, like, to slow down for a second. And also it just gives me time to imagine my future. I'll be starting a women's group soon that will offer pretty much everything that would level up a woman. Book reads. We're going to do personal development where we're reading books that help us become the woman of our dreams, attract things that we feel like that we are supposed to have as long as it's in God's will, but be able to plan our life out and also have meaningful relationships with just people in general. I'm also going to bring resources into the group like credit repair.
Okay.
We're going to do retreats every year, like maybe dealing with like a travel agent where we plan trips every year and go somewhere. We'll be doing like skating and stuff local. The people that are actually here can take advantage of that. And people can fly out, too. Yeah. But for the most part, we're going to be talking about sex toys, men, everything women. Will be in indeed. That will elevate a woman. And also just, making sure that you are mentally growing and becoming a better person, because you can never stop doing that.
You're right. You're 100% right. I'm gonna ask you a question. Right. Do you think sickle cell helped you focus? Once you like this, do you think sickle cell shaped your life into what you are today versus what you grew through? You think sickle cell helps you tap in a little sooner than later?
Did it help me tap in? I think sickle cell did in ways, but I just feel like I'm not going to say it was sickle cell per se, because when I made the switch to like being the woman, like deciding like I'm not playing with my life no more, I'm not dealing with this or that, that's toxic. I don't think it was more so because of sickle cell. It was more so because I felt like God was telling me if I didn't move away from certain people and environments, that my life was not going to flourish. From the point of when I first heard like him saying this to my spirit, because God talks to our spirit. Yeah. Because nothing good happened to me until I separated from certain environments. I'll just be honest. So sickle cell guided it some, because I could say guided it some, but I think God had this plan for me in general. But I did go into entrepreneurship. You're kind of right, I could say, because me going into entrepreneurship was because I kept getting fired. And I just decided I'm not working for nobody no more. So therefore, personal training looked great. It looked great for that reason, for sure. And then I also love to lift weights. So it was like, oh, this is perfect, right? So you are right. It did kind of segue into the boss mentality. Yeah, because the reason I say that, because that's what I came to my conclusion. Because like you say, you get fired, you're in the hospital, you're sick, right? Sickle cell is the common denominator, right? Because if you ain't focusing on being healthy,
don't none of that happens for you.
Exactly.
Don't none of that's just why I say even in here, sickle cell is a double-edged sword. You know, I mean, it's a good, it's a good, it's like, because sickle cell helped me focus. It helped me when I got tired of getting sick. I had to focus. When I got tired of dealing with these doctors, I had to focus. When I got tired of waking up sick and calling 911, I had to focus.
Yeah.
When I got tired of even with bad relationships and bad environments, I had to focus on my health. And when I focus on my health, I'll focus on everything else.
Exactly.
Because even the mental part we talked about earlier, I tapped into meditation. I'm probably like a 6, but not in. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm probably a month in.
That's dope. Congrats.
Meditation. You see what I'm saying? But when I first went through my first anxiety attack, due to indica, because I talk about medical marijuana too, because the difference between the side effects between indica and sativa.
But, I know.
Right. So you already know what I'm saying. So I had to really tap in.
Kill myself off sativa.
That you say what? Say that again.
I almost killed myself off some sativa.
What happens if you enlighten me, if you don't mind?
Oh my God! Listen, it was like I know it was a joint. This is what it was. It was a joint. Wasn't no edibles and nothing. So you thinking like, wasn't edibles? Because edibles say they have you. But anyway, it had me tripped out. So it was a joint, some sativa. It was grown. This was through. It was through a dispensary here. But all I know is straight sativa. I get in my car. I'm like, I'm driving. I don't know where. I don't know where I was going. So I drive out my neighborhood. And all of a sudden, my foot kept saying, keep your foot on the gas. Don't stop at this light. And I'm like, and it was like I had to fight to not press down on that gas and just keep going through all the cars. So I immediately, it was like almost uncontrollable. I turned the car off and put it in park and ran into the store like, please help. Something like my car is in the street, I'm sick, or something I said like that, like to get the people to help me. So a person moved my car out of the street. It was crazy. I said, oh my God, I went back to the dispensary, like, what was that? Like I had to really ask, like it felt like it was lace, and they explained the differences and the head high, and I'm like, oh my God. This was like, I was young and I realized like this was when cannabis clubs first opened. I didn't know nothing about cannabis club. All I know is that mess had me like, I say, I don't ever want nothing like that ever again. That's horrible. Yeah. And that's what I educate on too, because people just out here just smoking. This weed is different than what it used to be back in the day, because you got the terpenes. The terpenes also have the sativa side effects with that mental, because that's what happened to me when I was dealing with anxiety real bad. So when I started dealing with anxiety real bad, I ain't want to take that medication. I tapped into frequency therapy, just hurts. I tapped into, I really tapped into my stone, my sage. I tapped into a lot of different things. Even I also got a therapy dog. His name is Loyalty, a Boston Terrier. And he allows me to, when I find myself in my head too much, I grab him and I go for a walk. So he keeps me moving constantly. Wow. So a lot of things, the reason I say that, why sickle cell is the common denominator, because sickle cell, we stay moving. You got to stay distracted, because if you're not distracted, you will find yourself focusing just completely on your health, which turns to a kind of patient. Like, you know what I mean? So that's why I like to see what you're doing. Is that you behind you on there? Yeah, somebody painted that for me. Oh, I know that's right. Yeah, I know that's right. I love that. I love it. Next time we meet back up, when I interview you, I'm giving y'all a little shameless plug there. Yeah, it's all good. Hey, but I will say I'm gonna have my painting up too on the back of me. You've inspired me, although I wanted to do it anyway. And guess what? It's red and black. Is it? See, they're my colors too. Gotta say that. It's red and black. Watch. She's gonna be like, she said it was red and black. Watch. We gonna look like sickle cell brother and sister. Yeah, gotta say that. Hey, you know what's crazy though? You know what's deep when you just by you saying that. At one point, I get high and start thinking real deep. And sometimes I be wonder how many
we are related. Like people with sickle cell, I wonder how much of us out here are we truly related.
I really, it's really crazy. I be thinking that I call you guys my warrior brother and sisters anyway.
Yeah.
Because we a family. We the only one understand each other.
Yeah, we're the only one. And I think sickle cell allowed us to be compassionate, to be sympathetic, you know what I mean? Empathy, you know, it allowed us to have a clear head and a clear understanding and grounding.
Absolutely. I agree.
The other day, I meditated the other day, right? And I cried during my meditation.
Yeah.
But it was a happy cry because I was able to vision myself in the life I wanted to that I'm growing into. And I saw myself.
Right.
Like it was deep. So I'm very new to the meditation world. But I love it. It has enhanced my life tremendously.
Yes.
So you agree?
Keep it going, man. It's the best thing ever. And just always think about it. It's only, you don't have to even do it a long time.
No.
Like, it doesn't have to be no. Yep.
Yeah. 15 minutes. I set my timer. And once it beat, I'm popping out of, you know.
Yep.
And I always say I'm coming out better than I came in. That's how I ended.
Man, I love that.
Once again, sickle cell is a lifestyle. And once you understand that, like, I mean, you made it your, you know, I know you don't credit 100%, but it's your lifestyle now because you're healthy. Like, you know, it's your life. You work out every day. I mean, that's a lifestyle. You really have to tap in.
You do.
Trust yourself. And that's the only way you're gonna keep yourself out them emergency rooms, out them doctors' faces. Ain't nothing wrong with going for your you know, your checkups like you supposed to. Get your blood counts, make sure you get your teeth checked out, your eyes, etc. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, main thing though, just don't wait for them doctor's appointments. You got to yourself every day.
Personally, you have to know, hey, I'm entitled to the bad days that I'm supposed to have. It ain't, I'm really not feeling good. That's it. Yeah. Pop back up. Just don't give up. Don't dwell. Don't go into something real deep. You've been dealing with this your whole life. Just say, hey, when it's action time, I feel better. I'm going in. When I feel bad again, I'm sitting down.
There it is. It's simple. It's really that simple. Yeah, and be okay with it. That's it. That's all you can do. We're gonna wrap this up.
It was so nice talking with you.
Your shirt size too, because I got some you know, shirts to say, you know, 365 Mr. Check Your Temp for the podcast. If it's okay, I'll send you one.
Sure. Please send it.
But once again, it's 365, never in a fight. I go by Mr. Check Your Temp. I just checked on Misa. I see how she doing today. She doing beautiful. Gotta say that. You
guys follow me at Cuss Plus Curves on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Spelled out CUTSPLUSCURVES. Anybody want to learn how to eat better with sickle cell? I'll teach you things you can take on with you for the rest of your life that will help your life in the long run. So for the most part, even if you don't have sickle cell, you know someone that does, direct them to my guy's platform. Direct them to my platform so they can learn and hear from people that are talking that real stuff about sickle cell.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. It's a community. Once again, it's 365 day, never ending fight process.
I just love that. Like your whole brand is structured around your life, and that's amazing.
I enjoyed this conversation. We're gonna do it again. I'm looking forward to coming on your platform. And we're gonna
set that up.
This ain't gonna be the only time, so we're gonna check on it.
I'll be back.
Right now, you be easy, baby.
Thank you for having me. Bye bye.